G5Jefftv. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button as you come on in. Big shout out to all the sponsors of the channel. All the information is in the description box. And follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter at BoxingFirst I got two very special guests on the line, two of Iowa's finest. First up, I got boxing manager extraordinaire out of Iowa, the manager of Jason Phillips, Mike Patterson in the building. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, G5? Thank you for having me back, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, no problem, no problem. And then guest number two, one of my favorite up-and-coming middleweights out of Iowa, but he's putting in work in Minnesota. 7-0, 6 knockouts. I changed his nickname. He don't know it yet. I'll let him know during this conversation. But I want to introduce y'all to Cruse Hitman Stewart. What is going on, bro? What's up?
How y'all doing, man? Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, no problem, no problem. Listen, for the people that don't know who you are, Cruse, just give them a little bit about your boxing background.
Yeah, man, I'm 31 years old, man. I've been boxing since I was 10 years old, man. I started in the Quad Cities, East Moline. Quad City Pride was my very first gym in the Silver Gloves. At 14 years old, man, I went to the US OEC up in Marquette, Michigan with Al Mitchell and the Phillies' own Ray Robinson, the new Ray Robinson. And 17 years old, man, I relocated to Iowa, and I came to Minnesota, I want to say back about 3 years ago, 2017, man. I've been here ever since. Okay.
What was your, as an amateur, let the people know what you did as an amateur. I know what you did as an amateur, but let the people know.
Yeah, as an amateur, man, I had an extensive background, man. I had about 400 fights, man. I was Team USA back in 2008, fought against China, Brazil, semi-finals runner-up at the National Golden Gloves at the Olympic qualifiers back in 2008 and, so forth. Okay.
So now, for the people that's listening, Cruse is being modest. Like, Cruse went like 300. He had like 300-something amateur wins. He's being modest with y'all. Like,
right.
He was the shit in the amateurs. Point blank, period. From what I understand, you was basically on the same team with Gary Russell, correct?
Correct.
Gary Russell.
Yes, sir. Gary Russell, Deontay Wilder, Molina, Javier Molina, just to name a few. And
you had a scrap with the hometown guy, Mr. Danny Garcia. Am I correct?
Correct. We fought in the Augusta finals, man. Augusta Open Invitational, and me and him met in the finals at 125 pounds.
Wow.
Which he beat me. I don't know, man. Judging and whatnot, but he got his hand raised at the end of the fight, but
judging was a little shifty, little shifty.
It's amateur boxing, man. It's amateur boxing. That's all I'm gonna say. He got the best of me. It's amateur boxing.
And that's crazy that y'all win. That's crazy that y'all went at it at 125 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that I didn't know. But basically, you fought on March 13th. That was the day before the coronavirus hit. And for the people that's listening, this is a legendary listen because Cruse Stewart and everybody on that card was the last card that aired on Showtime before the coronavirus hit. Like,
correct.
So your name is going to be in history, boxing history, forever. You know what I'm saying? I know you went through a lot going into that fight. If you can, let the people know what you was going through going into your fight on March 13th.
going into the fight, man, you know, struggling for sparring partners, man. That was you know, making the weight was, you know, was what we do, but it was struggling for sparring partners. The opponent was very tough, man. We knew we got a solid guy, very thorough. You know, he's been around, but it was just the struggling for sparring partners, man. That was our downfall coming into our camp for March 13th.
Wow, and I'm pretty sure that with the whole coronavirus situation, did you have any concerns about whether the fight was going to get canceled? Because there was a lot of other cards that were getting canceled at that time. I actually called Mike. I called Mike. I said, did Cruse check and see if his fight's still going on? Mike, am I
Sure
lying?
did. Yep.
Yeah. So did you have any concerns about that? Like maybe like a couple days before the fight?
Yes, we did. We did actually. My manager had called me right after the scale. We were right after the scale eating, and he said, "Cruse, I want you to keep this on the hush, but man, we might not have a fight." What?
I know you was. I know you was snapping because I know what you guys go through to try to make weight and just you know everything that goes on in terms of a training camp. I know you was like almost felt helpless at the time, correct?
Yes, correct. Because the hard part was over with. We stepped on the scale. We were eating, but it was the fact that the fans, you know, we sold so many tickets for the fight that the fans, you know, we weren't allowed to say anything until they made the announcement of nobody was able to be there.
Right.
So the fans were missing out more so than what was to come. But the fans had to understand this is how we get paid through ticket sales.
Correct.
So everybody was asking for a refund and this, that, and the other on their tickets, but we still fought. So technically, whether we were, you know, me or my opponent, there was no injuries, there was no backouts. We still fought whether you saw it or not. We still got a family to provide for too.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely. And that's what made the situation so crazy. And I was surprised that they actually followed through with the card. And big shout out to Salida Promotions and Showtime, because they could have easily just said, nah, like, we just not going to do it. And they really went against the grain because they watched Shakur Stevenson, that whole card got knocked out. Basically, all the other major cards were postponed except for yours.
Right.
Which is crazy. So when I found out that you guys were still fighting, I was like, bet, like, that's what's up. But Salida Promotions been doing their thing. They deal with Clarissa Shields, and, you know, Boots is always on her cards and all that. So Salida Promotions always do a good job. Going into that fight, like you said, the opponent was really tough. How surprised were you that he got up from that third round knockdown? Because you caught him with a real good shot.
Yeah, that was a hell of a shot.
Yes, we were shocked, but we understand through my amateur pedigree, man, you can't knock out everybody. So with his professional back, you know, shout out to him, because from what I've heard, man, he was highly decorative in the amateurs as well. He fought in bigger weight classes. Yes, he fought in bigger weight classes, and he was highly decorative in the amateurs. So he's not familiar with touching the ground. You know, it's part of the game, and he was there to will it out with the guys 6-0 coming in all knockouts, and then his professional background with the guys he's been in there with, and the gym that he comes from. which I come from over there in Illinois, my JO region, and that's where I initially started with. He come from Sam Colonna, Windy City Boxing Gym. I knew what type of dog we had in front of us.
Right.
And so, you know, I packed a lunch. I understood that.
Right.
So, you know, I packed a lunch. I knew it, you know, so I wasn't myself. We knew it was going to be a long day, you know. Yeah. I was willing to punch the clock and also punch him at the end of the day. So
absolutely. And the thing is that goes to show your character as a fighter, because you went into that fight 6-0, 6 knockouts, and on top of that, nobody got out of the second round with you. So
correct.
It's easy to go into a fight and say, all right, I'm going to get this guy up out of here. I'm not going to lie. Before that fight, I gave you a whole new nickname, and Mike can vouch for this.
That's true.
Listen, I was calling you Cruse No Judges Stewart. That's what I was calling you. You know what I'm saying? I was calling you Cruse No Judges Stewart. I'm going to still go with that. You know what I mean? Because you at least got the knockdown. But going into this fight, after you seen him get up from the shot, and there was so much time left on the clock, and he survived the round, it looked like he actually started turning up afterwards, which you don't see too often. Like, did that take you by surprise? I knew you was in there to punch the clock and everything, but were you surprised? It seemed like he had more energy after the knockdown than he did before.
Yeah, man. You know what he realized? He realized, as him being a veteran, he was 8-3 going into this fight with the level of competition that he boxed against. Right. He realized, man, this dude is 6-0. He's never been where I've been.
Right.
If I can get this young dude going through these later rounds, I'm gonna weather this storm. That's all. That was probably what I'm assuming was on his mental.
Yeah.
I got to drag this young fella through these later rounds and put him in that hot water. Yeah, but he didn't know, man, I was tailor-made for the pressure.
Right. And that's the thing.
Which I understood his strategy. I totally understand it, man. A young guy coming in, he's 6-0, he's got an opponent such as myself. He's never done what I've done. I get it.
Right. We got the knockdown in the third round. He got up, and I said, he's not getting out of this third round. He's not getting out of this third round.
That third round was scary as hell for him.
That third round was
put it on him.
Yeah, like that third round, and the thing was, the shot that you're quoting was a compact shot. You was like right in the pocket, so he fell like a ton of bricks, and I'm like, damn. Got up, and I'm like, damn, like he got through the round. And then round 4, he started putting in work. Round 5, he started putting in work, and then it looked like round 6. You start getting your second win, and I actually gave you the 6th round. I gave him 4 and 5. When they gave you the decision, he looked like he was upset that he got the decision. Were you looking at him like, yo, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you got knocked down in a 6-round fight. Like, it's very hard to come back on the cards getting knocked down in a 6-round fight. And you clearly won the first 3 rounds.
Yes, and me personally, I gave myself the 6th round because me being a critic, or, you know, I felt as though the 4th round, he could have pulled it off. 5th round, the 5th round, he could have put it off. Myself, I was in there to prove something.
Right.
Nobody's been past 2 rounds with me, but, you know, I wanted to let the fans know, well, the 3 or 4 fans that was in the crowd, you know, so to say. I wanted those people to see me go to war, which I had a camo. I bought new trunks for that fight. Actually, I've never had 12 minutes in my first pair of boxing trunks ever. So, you know, that was my little mantra for me to get 12 minutes, which is a 4-round fight, in the first pair of trunks I've had. But I bought a new pair of trunks in which I've put camo on there, which I knew I was going to war.
Yeah. And
that was the mantra of this camp. Dog, we're going to war, which we knew this dude was coming to scrap.
Yeah. And is it safe to say you learned more in this fight than you did your entire pro career combined?
Yes. We understand, my team and I, we understand you can't knock out everybody, so some guys, you got to, play the hand that you're dealt.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys you're going to have to, sit there and you can't look like Floyd Mayweather every fight, and even Floyd Mayweather ain't look like Floyd every fight,
Absolutely.
Which has been proven.
Facts.
Man, you can't look like who you want to look like every night.
Right.
We get it.
Yeah, and that's why I asked you earlier, like, the things that you were going through in a fight, because the people that's listening, there's this perception that, boxers are okay going into a fight. I said 9 times out of 10, a fighter either has something going on outside of the ring or they're physically not 100% going into a fight. So it takes a whole different type of person to actually put all of that to the side and actually hop into the ring. You understand what I'm saying? I think boxers don't get enough credit for what they actually do.
I agree with that
on
statement.
fight night.
Correct, man. I had twins on Monday. My manager had twins on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I have not had that whole week, man. We didn't have no sleep, man. I was in the hospital with my girl and the babies, man.
Right.
And I said I didn't care, man. I still got a job to do at the end of the day, whether I'm on 2 hours of sleep the whole week or not.
Hey, listen, Cruz, real quick, for the people that's listening, we got to support Cruse Stewart at the end of the day. Let me tell you, Cruz had his babies. Congrats on that. I told Mike, I said, Cruz ain't going to get no sleep. Mike hit me, was just like, yo, Cruz said he going to have the babies in his hand and he going to have the phone on speaker. We can still do the interview. I was just like, yo, I'm a fan of Cruz for life. I'm like, when you willing to hold you going, baby. When you
he ain't never lying, man. I just had to pawn him off real quick on my girl real fast, man, and take care of Normally I do, though. Normally I do.
That's true. Every time I'm rapping with the Hitman, they always in his arms.
I told Mike, I said, I'm a fan of Cruz for life, man. I said that was gangster. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was gangster for real. What took you to Minnesota? Because I know initially you were in Iowa. From a boxing standpoint, was it just more opportunities in Minnesota?
Well, it was several things, man. I'm gonna make a long story short. It was several things, man. I had a buddy of mine. Initially, what brought me, man, I had a buddy of mine. Me and him fought twice in the amateurs. DeLorean Caraway.
Okay.
And I believe his record is 13-2. I want to say 12-2, 13-2, one of the two. He had a title fight here, man. And for those that don't know, I'm gonna give you a little background about me, man. I served 3 years in the Nebraska Penitentiary for a drug case, which it ain't no secret. You can look it up.
Right.
And I got out. I served in 2012. Got out 2015. I did a 3-year bid. And when I had got out, he had a title fight. And he said, man, Cruz, man, come help me get ready for my fight, man. And I want to bring you in the camp. I said, man, that's a blessing because, man, I'm looking for a new start. I'm looking for to brand my market. You see what I'm saying? To broaden my horizon elsewhere. And so I came, man. And I came here, man. His manager was coming through to the gym, checking us out and whatnot. We had developed a relationship. Shout out to 1-2 Boxing.
Big sure. 1-2 Boxing. Big shout out.
1-2 Boxing, yeah. We built a relationship, man, and I came here, man, and met a little chick, and shit, it's been magic ever since.
That's what's up.
Plus, okay, on the flip side of that coin, too, man, it was a nice little market here, man. They got Jamal James that's been a fight for a title. Caleb Truax was a title holder.
Absolutely.
Also, they had PBC fights come here. They had Top Rank come here. I said, man, the market is where you want to be right now.
Yeah, Minnesota's popping. Minnesota's popping right now.
You don't see and that's outside of the little local fights that they're putting on. I said, wow, this is a market that most guys don't get the opportunity to fight on, like to get TV fights like this in one spot. Top Rank, PBC, and then also on top of that, local fights. Oh, you don't get that too often.
Yeah, you got everything. Like
correct. I didn't have to go nowhere. Man, that was 4 hours for me.
You didn't have to go nowhere. Everything was in house.
Exactly.
It's crazy how you have your story, but then there's other boxers that have similar stories, and boxing has kind of been the outlet. Like, you literally went from doing a bid to being on Showtime. Like,
correct.
Forget the coronavirus and all the circumstances. Showtime held the card. Like,
that's true.
Correct.
You were on Showtime. Like, I know you got a lot going on as far as your kids and the stuff going on at home. Like, after the fight, did you really sit back and think, like, damn, like, my life done went full circle. Like, I went from doing a bid to, like, if it wasn't for this crazy circumstance, like, people would have been seeing me on TV and they get hundreds of thousands of viewers.
I sit back and I sit back, man, and this may sound different, but I don't see it no differently, man. I've been here before. I saw myself here a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what weathered me through the storm of life. And also boxing, man. I've been seeing myself here.
So even with
you have to put yourself.
Yeah,
correct.
Like even with the trials and tribulations, like, this was, you felt like this was meant for you. So it didn't matter what you went through. Like, you knew in your heart you was gonna get to where you were right now and beyond. Like, I can listen. I can understand that. I can understand that 120%. Going forward, since you got this big victory, in terms of fights, hopefully this coronavirus thing ends in the next month or two and we can get back to regular life.
Tomorrow.
You man,
I know that's right.
Listen, man, I'm tired of quarantining, man. Like, listen, I'm tired of watching old fights. I'm tired of watching old movies. All that, man. Like, I want this shit to be over with. Going forward, Cruse, because of your amateur background, it was so extensive, do you feel like you want to fast track your process?
Yes. I'm 31 years old, which I turned 31 the day after March 13th.
Right.
So, and, obviously, you have to prove yourself to your manager. He don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that never saw you before, because, I'm starting a whole nother market, so in Iowa, man, I could have been biased. In Illinois, I could have been biased. The fans could have been biased as well.
It's really crazy how you've gone to another state and really just made a name for yourself. Would you have preferred to have stayed in Iowa since you're from Iowa, or you really didn't care?
Champions are always made on the road, man. They're not made at home.
Right.
So, with that being said, I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable on the road.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that's your mindset inside of the ring when it's them late rounds in the fight you just had, round 5, round 6. I'm pretty sure you had to, I'm pretty sure you had to
round 3. Round 3.